Today on Off the Dock Adventures, we head to the Pickerel River system in Northern Ontario for a scenic tour of the Port Loring area. We also check out some of the finest beaches in Georgian Bay and scope out a few of the 30,000 islands. Plus, we get some kayaking tips from our friends at Langford Canoe. So stick around, there's a lot more to come.
Off the Dock Adventures on TSN is sponsored in part by Honda 4-Stroke Outboards, we understand. The Canadian Coast Guard, take a boating safety course, get your card. It's about safety, it's the law. And Honda FOURTRAX ATVs, get out there.
Northern Ontario's Pickerel River system is located 3 hours north of Toronto. The Pickerel River travels through the communities of Port Loring, Lost Channel, and Golden Valley, as well as through a number of small lakes, the largest of which is Wilson Lake.
The Pickerel River starts at approximately South River and runs through to Georgian Bay. In total, that is probably about 65 miles of water. The navigable portion would be about 50 miles. As a navigable body of water, the Pickerel River system is one that is very easy to travel. Although it is not charted by the ministry, there are buoys on dangerous shoals along the shoreline. Generally, if you stay in the middle of the water system, it's an extremely safe system to travel.
The combination of lakes and rivers on the Pickerel River system provides a breathtaking overview of the area and its wildlife. It's not a heavily traveled waterway, and although some areas are well developed and services are always close at hand, there are also many pristine areas of untouched wilderness. Traveling along the Pickerel River today, it's interesting to realize that as recently as the 1920s, the primary means of transportation was on the steamship Kawigamog. The Kawigamog was a lifeline for the early residents traveling between Port Loring and the booming town of Lost Channel. What is now a scenic 40-minute trip took the better part of the day to travel, and Lost Channel is no longer booming. All that remains today is an inn. The Pickerel River provides a wide range of boating experiences for visitors, including canoeing and houseboat tours. Along with the many scenic opportunities and places to visit, there are also plenty of accessible areas to launch from, with docking facilities at almost every resort. It doesn't get more convenient than this.
Backwater Bill, brought to you by Shell Nautilus, environmentally considerate marine oils and cleaners.
Oil and water don't mix. Gasoline does affect our freshwater ecosystems. To reduce environmental degradation, consider the following things. If you're filling up your tank, use a funnel. It will reduce the spillage. If you have a self-contained tank, take it slow and easy and don't exceed the tank's capacity. If you're working on an engine, make sure it's on dry land. And at the end of the season, take that old fuel to a recycling center. Don't be foolish. Be a conscientious boater.
Kayaking has really taken off in the last couple of years, and the reason for that is there's so many different types of kayaks today, from river rodeo boats that you can do neat stunts in the rapids to longer kayaks that you can go on much longer sort of wilderness type trips with your camping equipment, and then there's your all-around fun general purpose cottage type kayaks that everybody can use and very user friendly to operate. If you're looking to take a kayak out on large water surfaces where the winds and waves tend to be a little bit larger than your smaller lakes, you want to look for a little longer, larger volume kayak all around. That's going to be good in the wind and waves. If you plan to use the kayak just around the cottage where it's relatively calm and for the kids to use, there's a wide range of small, lightweight, little stable, user-friendly kayaks that are meant for calm water as opposed to the rougher, large water surfaces. Material-wise for kayaks, they do have very ultra lightweight composite type kayaks for the people that do intend on carrying them and getting in on the portages as well as the canoers do. There's also what's very popular in the kayaks is the plastic type kayaks because of their incredible durability. You can hit things with them and ram into beaches and rocks, and at no time do you ever have to worry about damaging them. If you're planning on going out on an extended trip or a full day trip or even possibly an overnight trip in a kayak, what you want to look for is a longer kayak that's got a good volume to it where you can actually bring along the required, you're definitely going to need to bring water and some provisions and rain gear just in case the weather turns bad. And of course, you have to have the necessary safety equipment with the kayak. And you want a larger volume, long type kayak that's capable of handling rough water and seas in case you do get into it. And they're typically your C-type format kayak with the dry storage compartments and the bungees on top to secure your load down. Best way to get in and out of a kayak is simply go in off the shore if you don't want to get your feet wet, and just sort of shimmy your body so the kayak actually flows into the water and paddle out from there. And be sure you're out deep enough before you kick down the rudder in the back. When choosing a kayak paddle, it's very important to try a variety of different paddles. If you're just going to paddle around the cottage, it's okay to have a very durable, little bit heavier paddle. If you do plan on doing some extended type kayak trips, it's very important to get a lightweight paddle that draws a lot of water and possibly has the offset blades for a little better wind aerodynamics really when you're paddling. Most of your modern day kayaks today are designed to be very stable and user friendly. There seems to be kind of an older myth about kayaks being very tippy, and that is true in certain types of kayaks designed for specific applications. But when you get into your larger seafaring type kayaks, they tend to be very stable and designed not to flip over. But it's always recommended that you do, explore the limits of your kayak and get used to knowing what to do if, in fact, you do capsize. Before you go out and purchase a kayak, it's very important to go out and do your homework and compare many different models and shapes and sizes, and be sure that you pick a kayak that's going to be best suited for your particular needs, as well as the needs of your friends that you're going to be paddling with. There's no point in having a river kayak if you plan to do large water type kayaking.
To Hull and Back, brought to you by Crates Marine of Keswick, Ontario.
The whaler, oh geez, the boys, there was a lot of thought, a lot of effort, and a lot of man hours certainly went into the boat. But as you can see, the finished product, it's just unbelievable. I mean, this boat came to our yard, and we looked at it, and we sort of had a bit of a laugh, and dealing with Steve, and just looking at the boat, and we've had boats in a lot worse situations come through the shop, and believe me, the finished product, better than new, you might say, and you wouldn't know that the boat was a 72. And again, the finished product tells a story.
Well, we're just coming back from the maiden voyage of the renewed Boston Whaler, and that's a day that I've long anticipated. This boat has turned out great. The years of wear and tear are all but gone, and these new polyurethane paints and the type of restoration work that was done on this boat has literally turned it into new again. It's a very stable, durable design, and it's a boat that's well worth a little bit of effort, as a lot of older boats are. And the addition of 4-stroke power, personally, I really like it. Quieter, it's very smooth, and there's no smoke. I like that a lot. I can see this boat's going to be in service for a good many years to come. Boat restorations are bound to become more popular. With the better materials out there, you get a better finished product, and it's a lot more rewarding. Not to mention, it can save you a lot of dough. And with the amount of good old boats that have got a lot of history in people's families, it's nice to see them come back. Bring them to the lake, amaze your friends.
The Coast Guard Minute.
Legislation requires that almost all vessels carry on board distress equipment, such as a watertight flashlight or flares. There are 4 types of flares. Type A, parachute flares, Type B, multi-star flares, Type C, which are handheld flares, and Type D, which are smoke flares. And these can be either buoyant or handheld flares. Flares should be stored in a cool, dry place and should be easily accessible in case of emergency. It is important to note the date of manufacture on the flares, as they are only good 4 years after manufacture. In order to dispose of outdated flares, contact your local police department, fire, or Coast Guard station.
Georgian Bay, in addition to being a great boating destination, also has some of the finest beaches in Ontario. WASAGA Beach, located at the mouth of the WASAGA River on Georgian Bay, is only about 1.5 hours north of Toronto, and it's the longest freshwater beach in the world. Great beaches, an abundance of water sports, and excellent boating attract thousands of tourists during the summer months.
WASAGA Beach has something for everybody. They've been pushing more to children, and there's a lot of parks now with slides and everything, and then we have water slides here. Great place for a family to come. If you're single, it could even be better, because it seems that both sexes like the water and they like the beaches, and there's a lot of places at the night to dance the night away right on the water now. I'd say the big thing though is the beach. To come here and enjoy yourself and enjoy the water.
WASAGA Beach is awesome. Like, the beach is so nice.
Lots of stuff to do, too little time.
The beach is nice, the sand is nice. We've had great weather out here.
The beach is great. There's a lot of things to do. We've had nice weather. It's been an A1 vacation.
WASAGA Beach was a lot of fun. The people were really nice here. There was a lot of hot guys on the beach. People were really friendly though. It was easy to make friends.
Loved the boating. It was great. The weather was excellent. Had lots of fun.
The tubing was really fun. It was scary at some points in the waves and that, but it was really fun going over the boatway.
Boat ride was really fun. I was a little scared at first because I've never seen the Big Bertha before, but it was fun to go on with 3 people.
Tubing was fun, scary at times. Muscles are sore.
WASAGA Beach is an awesome time. Tons of things to do. Tubing was tons of fun, loved it. Hit the water so hard your bathing suit comes off, and the boat ride rocked. Loved it. Tubing was amazing, tons of fun.
Dock Tips with Steve Hayward.
The propeller on your boat's a very critical component. If the boat's propped right, it performs right. If it's wrong, it doesn't perform right. It's as simple as that. Now this propeller is aluminum. It's what came on this engine originally. The benefits of aluminum is they're cost effective, they're fairly easy to repair, but they're quite soft and they're not torsionally stiff. This propeller has had a minor impact and it has deformed the blade. We're going to take it off, have it repaired, and use it as a spare. We've decided to upgrade to a stainless steel prop, and there's several reasons for doing that. But first we got to get the aluminum one off. This prop nut is locked in place with a cotter pin, so we need to get that out of the way. So we straighten it out. And we clamp on some locking pliers. And just tap it out. Loosen the nut off. And we make sure that we save the pieces as we take everything off. It's a good idea not to do this over water, or else you might have to go swimming. You can tell I'm speaking from experience, can't you? The washer, the propeller, and the thrust washer stays in place. It's still in good shape on this one. Now the first thing you're going to notice when you pick up a stainless steel propeller is, obviously they look great, but they're very, very heavy, they're very strong, and there's some very, very distinct benefits to that. Namely, the strength allows the blades to be thinner, which increases efficiency. Now they're very stiff and they don't distort under power, so the pitch that you have is true pitch. What may be required is you may actually have to pitch down when you go to a stainless steel prop. It just goes on like that. Another feature I really like about a stainless steel prop is they are very impervious to impact damage. If you happen to hit a little piece of wood out in the water while you're boating, it's not going to ruin your day. They can take it. If there is a downside to a stainless steel prop, it's if you have a very serious impact with a rock, you can do extensive gear damage. But if we're paying attention and know where we're going, that's not going to be an issue. All we have to do now is get this back in place. Tighten the prop nut up. Now once it's snugged into position and you're going to tighten it, make sure you either push flat against the blade so that you don't get cut on the edge, or you can place a block of wood up top to stop the prop from turning. You line it up so that you can put the cotter pin back into place. And once that's done, this job's pretty much complete. You bend the cotter pin down into position, it's locked on and done. Now if you're not totally comfortable with propellers, work with a dealer. There's a lot of variables, and when you're talking about a sizable investment like a stainless steel prop, you want it right. Because when it is right, the boat's going to work fantastic. Until next time, keep it off the dock.
Ski Tips with Angela Van Zandwick, brought to you by Connolly Water Skis and Wakeboards.
Everyone wants to learn how to wakeboard. It's not as hard as it looks. All you have to do is follow a few easy steps and you'll be wakeboarding in no time. The initial steps are the same as getting up on 2 skis, but with a wakeboard, as you resist the pull of the boat, rotate the board, bringing your dominant foot forward. And like skiing, keep your head up, shoulders back, and your knees bent. To instigate a turn, gently use toe or heel pressure. And remember that these boards are quick and light. Keep practicing, and before you know it, you'll be the envy of all your friends. Have fun, and I'll see you next time.
Another way to experience the beautiful beaches and pristine beauty of Georgian Bay is to boat to one of the outer islands. In contrast to the crowds at WASAGA, there are a number of secluded islands and bays that provide a place to bask in the sun, explore, swim, and relax.
So if you don't want to be around people and in the villages, you go out to the islands, and there's so many islands. They're easy to tie up to with the rocks and the rock faces. There's berries to pick, there's great swimming at the islands, and wonderful places to explore. The islands are a special place.
The trip to the Bustard Islands from Bing Inlet is one of my favorite trips in Georgian Bay. It takes you through some stunning scenery. You know, there's a couple of ways that you can get here. You can go out the main shipping channel and up. The Cloche Mountains you'll see off in the distance. I mean, it's very beautiful. But my personal preference is to sneak in through the small craft channel. The reason why I particularly like that scenery is you're going to see a lot of geographical differences. The glacier action in that section of Georgian Bay was, it must have been mind-boggling to think of what happened, because the Cloche Mountains, which are reputed to be the largest mountain range in North America way back when, were smashed by glacier action and created what they call the 30,000 Islands, which in fact are over 100,000 islands scattered along northeast and down the shoreline of Georgian Bay down towards Honey Harbor. The water clarity once you get up into this area is something that you really have to see firsthand. Giant's Tomb is a spectacular place to come and visit. It's an easy 35-40 minute boat ride from Honey Harbor as long as you have a calm day. There's pristine beaches, water is crystal clear. It's a great spot to come and spend some quality time with a loved one or your family. The name for the island is derived from its shape, which looks like a large tomb. And Indian legend has it that a giant, when he was turned down by an Indian princess, threw a huge temper tantrum, throwing handfuls of earth around and created the 30,000 islands, and then in despair lay down and died. If you get out here, you're going to see the best water and beaches that Georgian Bay has to offer. And during the week, it's fairly quiet. You can spend some quiet time with some special people, your friends, your family. Or if you want to come out here on the weekends, it becomes a much more social place.
This season on Off the Dock, we took you across North America to experience some of the best boating waters in the world. We showed you where to find some of the hottest fishing action in Ontario. We explored the historic and picturesque Georgian Bay and revealed some of its best-kept secrets. We've looked at the newest trends in boating and taken a step back in time with some fabulously restored boats. We've shared some tips and techniques for keeping our water clean for future generations. Plus, there's been plenty of top water action for the more adventurous souls out there. And next season, there's going to be more. Watch for some exciting saltwater boating action and a lot more surprises along the way, including going behind the scenes with the Canadian Coast Guard. So until next season, boat safe, boat sober.
Off the Dock Adventures on TSN has been sponsored in part by Honda Generators, quiet, reliable, portable electric power. Air Chair, the sky's the limit. And Shorelander Trailers, because getting there is half the fun.